Hey, shalom, shalom. It's Brother Montezal. About to do a quick lesson, short lesson in transit this morning, man. Shalom to all you Akim out there, man. Before I open up, I want to give all praises and glory and honor to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Rakak Kwadash. Double honors to our apostles and bishop elders of Great Millstone and rule well, and peace and salutations to all you Akim out there, teaching this truth and truth and sincerity. All right. Yeah, I was just meditating in the spirit on my way to work, and I was thinking about 1 Corinthians chapter 8, verse 1, about knowledge. And what made me think about it is pride. Because this is the during the time of the Feast of Unleavened Bread. Thinking about the leaven that needs to be purged out of myself. And I was thinking about how pride can enter into any one of us, and how we got to be careful through the Spirit, and watch out for that pride, because that pride can bring you down, and it's symbolic to like leaven. It can rise up inside of you. It can man get so big in you, it can literally destroy you. That pride, man, like the scriptures say about pride. I'll get that too, but I'm gonna read this real quick. This is 1 Corinthians. It's like your 1 Corinthians chapter 8, verse 1. It says, now as touching things offered into idols, we know that we all have knowledge. Knowledge puffeth up, but charity edifies. Yeah, because and we all have knowledge. We all, we study the scriptures, man. We know the scriptures. We know the truth. But you don't want to get to the point where, it puffs you up to the point where it makes you arrogant, to the point where you're thinking you're all high and mighty and you're better than somebody else. Because that can, destroy you. That can turn into idolatry also, because now you're not really worshiping Yahweh Bashem Yahweh Shai. You're really worshiping your own self. What Paul says too here, he's saying that charity edifies. So basically, having that charity, having the knowledge, you're supposed to, use charity, to bring up, people who are around you up on the same level that you're on. Bring them up to par, so to speak. That's why it's important, to do this work. To edify the sheep, the lamb, so that they can be, up to par, and live a righteous, holy life. Like the scriptures say, charity conquers a multitude of sin. Your charity, this is actually charity, man, doing this work for Yahweh Hashem Yahweh Shai. Yeah, man, and you don't want that pride to rise up in you like leaven. Pride, they say pride comes with, let me find that real quick. Pride comes before a fall. I forget exactly how it's worded. I don't want to butcher it. Give me a second. Bear with me. This is oh shit, it's locking. Rough traffic. This is Proverbs 16 and 18. It says, "Pride goeth before destruction, and a haughty spirit before a fall." So yeah, that pride, it goes before destruction. And pride coming right on in, man, and it can, it can be your downfall, man, in the spirit. Don't let that pride, rise up in you like that leaven, man, and destroy you, man. And then you fall out the truth. You fall back into the world, or you fall to your death. So hey, get that leaven out. You purge through the spirit, the power of Yahweh Bashem Yahweh Shai, man. That was on my mind this morning, man. I was just thinking about that with myself. Because sometimes you can miss that. And you being proudful, you might not know it. That's why it's important, like Paul said, to examine yourselves, to see if you be in the faith. Because sometimes, you can be wrong. And the water Yahweh Shem Yahweh Shai for the spirit, to help us analyze our own selves and look at ourselves, man. That pride, man, it can cause you to be, arrogant and pompous. It can cause you to be a fool. That's why we have to acknowledge Yahweh Shem Yahweh Shai in all things, man. Because it's the Lord at the end of the day that gives us everything that we have. But yeah, I didn't want to make this a long drawn out thing. That's pretty much it. Shalom to the next time.